All right, here we go, everybody. This meeting is being held in accordance with the public laws of 1975, Chapter 231. An adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by a notice sent to the Star Ledger, the local source, and posted in the main lobby of the municipal building and on the township website. I'm going to ask Union County Vice Commander David Penna of American Legion Post 228 the honor of leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
At the end of the meeting.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I ask that you please remain standing for a moment of silence of all those serving our country, both near and not so near. Thank you. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Mayor Capides?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Kaiser?
Present.
Committeewoman Du Bois? Here. Committeeman Huber?
Present.
Committeeman Weber?
Here. Thank you. As always, we'll begin with proclamations and announcements. On a somber note, the township extends condolences to Assistant DPW Foreman Bob Brennan and his family on the passing of Bob's father, Robert Brennan, 86 years, on January 16th, 2023. We also ask that you please keep in mind our Senior Citizens Club February calendar. It's published and it's online. For those of you who want to check out what's going on, we encourage you to do so. Also, in the same vein, Summit Area YMCA, Summer Fun in the Sun at the Springfield Community Pool. They have early bird pricing right now through February 28th. Using the website that's on the agenda. You could also use the code here as well for special benefits and savings. And lastly, I just want to say, just commend the Springfield Interfaith Clergy. Myself and Deputy Mayor Alex Kaiser attended the service.
I was on Zoom, but I didn't read.
And were you on Zoom?
Yeah.
Well, and Committeewoman Du Bois was on Zoom. Excellent job by Rabbi Rubin and team. It was a beautiful ceremony. I know that there was a lot of elements to that in-person Zoom, people reading and such. And also they had a closed drive at the end of that that was sponsored by the Springfield SUP. So just a great job all around and a nice venue of events that happened for Martin Luther King Day. So thank you for that. Public comment on agenda items only. I will open the meeting for anyone who has a comment on public comment on agenda items only. All right, seeing none, I'm going to close the public comment portion of the meeting, and we'll move on to reports. Mr. Basiculo, our administrative report. Good evening, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening. Couple of items. Recycling actually went very well. We had very few problems. There were some phone calls, but not a whole lot. People seem to adapt to the change of the schedule fairly easily. We're continuing to canvass the town to pick up Christmas trees. Trees need to be recycled. Make sure they're completely clean. Can't have decorations on them, tinsel, anything like that causes issues. The DPW service brochure will be in the next issue of the Patriot, so keep an eye out for that. That is very informative. DPW equipment was set up in prep should we have any inclement weather, so we're ready for a snowstorm. Hopefully not, but we're ready to go. Road improvements, we're moving forward with the carryover from the 2022, and we have also identified some potential roads for improvement projects set up for 2023. We're actually in pretty good shape on roads. We really had to do some looking to see what was in bad shape. We paved an awful lot of streets this past year. On our I&I, we completed the 3-year study. The final phase did uncover 2 locations that had heavy infiltration. One of them was actually in the field behind Sandmeyer, where at one point they were going to develop that land. We found a pipe there with water flowing into it that was just constant. So that was dug up, it was sealed. So hopefully we're in good shape that's going to help us. We did get a bill from RVSA we had a couple exceedances for the entire year, which was tremendous compared to the years before. The fine was $2,339.50, but we are sending them a letter that will show all of the money that we spent to try to eliminate I&I, and hopefully that $2,300 will go away. It'll be offset by the money that we've spent. I did want to also mention, Mr. Mayor, you were looking for the video upgrade to be done, so we didn't have the split screen with the cameras. The equipment that we had to buy is in, and Joe Voorhees will be in the next week or so, hopefully, to get that set up and fixed. That was really the highlights. We're just very busy in all the other departments. Building is still cranking along. We got new businesses still coming into town, so we're still very busy, which is a good thing. If there's any questions or comments, anybody? Oh, I did want to touch on, yesterday we were in court on the Gomes property, just so everyone knows. We were there the entire day. The trial was not finished. We've got another date set up for February, and I don't know the exact date off the top of my head, but that will continue in the beginning of February, the second phase of that trial. We're still working with them to get, as I think you were there tonight, Mr. Mayor and Mr. Weber, we are working with them to clear up the safety items. We've got 4 out of 6 of them have been cleared, but there's 2 more that still are waiting disposition. Until that's done, we cannot and will not lift the stop work order. So just so everyone's aware of that. If there's any questions or comments, I'd be happy to answer.
The only thing I got is, I have a resident who is texting me, and I can't find the text right now. But who can I get in touch with? And I think I've talked to you one time about this. Their neighbor was taken out in the ambulance. Nobody's been at the house for a month or better. And I think it's Kimberly?
Yeah, we looked into that one.
And nobody's been around, no nothing. I just want to make sure he's worried about any environments and anything getting into the house. Do I call, is it the Board of Health? I don't know who.
Let me go back and double check what we did, because we did dig into that the last time you brought it up, and I can't remember what the outcome was. We talked about it, but I will resurrect it again.
I just want to,
I'll have it for you in the morning.
Okay.
Anyone else? Any questions for Mr. Basicolo?
I'm at a loss. You'll get a call tomorrow.
All right.
Just a couple of reminders. I just want to reiterate some of the things that Mr. Basicolo said. That DPW brochure, when you get it in the Patriot, please hold on to it, please read it. It's got probably all the answers to the most asked questions that we get up here during the year. One is bulk, leaves, recycling, and things of that nature. So please make sure that you peruse that. Even though we're not expecting a heavy snow, if snow at all, please just also make sure that your sewers are clear, fire hydrants are clear, and so on. The DPW will certainly prepare for whatever prepare appropriately for whatever weather is expected. But again, please help us out, do your part, and prepare as well. Minutes and reports. Do I have a motion on some regular meeting minutes?
Motion to adopt the regular meeting minutes of October 25th, 2022 as emailed.
Second. Sorry.
Aye.
We have been in receipt of department reports for collector, assessor, OEM, police, fire, DPW, engineering, and zoning, building, recreation, and court. I see that they've been received and filed. New business, ordinances on second reading, we have none. We have 3 this evening for first reading. Madam Clerk, please read the first ordinance by title.
Ordinance 2023-02. This ordinance amends the shade trees provisions of the Township Code.
Motion?
Mr. Mayor, as read by Madam Clerk, ordinance 2023-02, publication on local source February 1st, 2023, the final hearing on February 14th, 2023.
Second.
Any questions, comments? This is pretty straightforward. All right, roll call, please.
Committeeman Huber?
Yes.
Committeewoman DuBois? Deputy Mayor Kaiser?
Yes.
Committeeman Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Capides?
Yes.
Okay. Ordinance 2023-03. This ordinance amends provisions of the Township Code to create certain employment positions within the township.
Motion?
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance 2023-03 as read by Madam Clerk, with a publication in the local source on February 1st, 2023, with a final hearing on February 14th, 2023.
All right. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Need a publication.
No, he
No?
doesn't need to. Roll call.
Okay.
Deputy-
Before we have a roll call, I'm going to ask Mr. Dowd, would you just mind explaining what these two positions within this ordinance are?
Yes, sure. So, the first one is adding, in some ways, is adding back. The township did have a position filled called, that was similar to this, confidential administrative assistant, and but as far as we could tell, it was never.
You just might want
Adjust your mic, yeah. Thank you. As far as we know, it was never codified, and so that's why this one appears here. This is a general position that can be full-time or part-time, to provide assistance to department heads and/or other officials in the town, which would be determined at the time that a hiring is made, and that would be set forth in the resolution of hiring by this body. The second position is what's called Health Program Coordinator. This was a recommendation from the Board of Health to the Township Committee, and this is a part-time position, and as you'll see in the next ordinance, as you probably have already seen in the next ordinance, it's a stipend position for a relatively low amount, and this is part-time only. And this would fall under the Board of Health when that hiring is made. And so that person would, if hired, that person would answer to the Board of the Health, but would also have reporting responsibilities to this body as needed.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Dowd. Do you have any questions, additional questions for Mr. Dowd? No, sir.
No.
All right, hearing none. Can I have roll call, please?
Deputy Mayor Kaiser.
Yes.
Committeewoman Du Bois. Yes. Committeeman Huber. Yes. Committeeman Weber.
Yes.
Mayor Capides.
Yes.
Okay. Ordinance 2023-04. This ordinance amends and supplements the existing ordinances governing certain employment positions and establishes compensation ranges for the reference positions within the township.
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance on first reading for ordinance 2023-04. The publication in the local source on February 1st, 2023, with a final hearing on February 14th, 2023.
Second.
Any questions?
No questions. I think everything was explained.
Right. No, it was. I just want to make sure. Be thorough. Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Kaiser.
Yes.
Committeeman Huber.
Yes.
Committeewoman Du Bois.
Yes.
Committeeman Weber.
Yes.
Mayor Capides.
Yes. Next, we are going to approve the following resolutions under consent agenda. If you would like something pulled, please let me know. 22351, 52, 53, 54, and I am going to pull 55. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion to adopt the following resolutions on consent agenda. Resolution 2023-51 through Resolution 2023-54.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Kaiser.
Yes.
Committeeman Huber.
Yes.
Committeewoman Du Bois. Committeeman Weber.
Yes.
Mayor Capides.
Yes.
Okay, Resolution 2023-55. This resolution authorizes the termination of the township's interlocal agreement with the Township of Bloomfield for local public health services.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion, but I do have questions. Motion to adopt Resolution 2023-55, as read by Madam Clerk.
Thank you. I wanted to add a little context to this, is why I pulled it. I have been speaking to the Board of Health. They've had the Township of Bloomfield for quite some time, and they're quite frankly looking for some different services, some more robust services, and also because they've had it for so long, we're also looking as a township to, save on funds, improve costs, lower costs, and we feel that this is something that we can do to start talking to other entities about a better, improved, robust service for perhaps a lower cost. Now, by passing this resolution, according to the contract that Bloomfield has with us, they need 6 months' notice. So in effect, by passing this tonight, we are giving them 6 months' notice that we are thinking about ending our contract with them. So this gives us 6 months' worth of time to shop around, talk to different entities, and see if we can come up with another organization or another entity, again, with more robust services and perhaps for a more economical cost.
We can keep them till the end of the year if we want. All right, I just want to make sure.
Once we provide that, once the notice of termination is provided, then the clock would start ticking. It's a 6 month.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, suppose you go around, I was here when we went after Bloomfield, we hit Westfield, I think it was, years ago. And of course, it's got astronomical.
Right.
But say in 2 months, 3 months, we don't find anything better than Bloomfield. Can we extend it to the end of the year, or no?
We would have to re-engage Bloomfield about that at that time.
Okay, I just want, I don't want to, because I don't want us to be,
But that would be, we would not have the unilateral, the township would not have the unilateral authority to continue the contract at that point. Bloomfield would have to agree.
So,
I'm sorry, I answered your question incorrectly because I did not understand it. I apologize.
I just want to make sure.
just apologies, clarification on that. So once we pass this tonight, we're notifying Bloomfield that we're ending the agreement. In 6 months, if we did not find a suitable entity to take us up as a client, which has happened before my time, but I was routinely reminded of when I got on here about Westfield not wanting us back. At what point and what plan does the administration then have if we can't find a suitable partner?
John?
I would like to say that I feel very confident that we can find another entity that will offer more robust services for a more economical price. Of course, that's my word. I mean, obviously, you have to do what you need to do, but I have no doubt that we can find somebody within 6 months.
I will take your word for it, and hopefully it will work out.
Thank you, Alex.
I'll light a candle for you.
I appreciate it. Anything else? Any more discussion?
No, I just want,
All right. Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Kaiser,
Yes.
Committeewoman Du Bois. Committeeman Huber,
yes.
Committeeman Weber,
Yes.
Mayor Capides.
Yes. We have this one discussion and action item. Actually, two, I'm sorry. First one.
I make a motion to approve the request from New York Blood Center, New Jersey Blood Services for the use of Chisholm Community Center Gym on Tuesday, February 21st and Monday, May 8th, noon to 10 p.m. for blood drives, hold harmless, and certificate of insurance provided.
Second,
Committeewoman Du Bois. Committeeman Huber.
yes.
Deputy Mayor Kaiser,
Yes.
Committeeman Weber,
Yes.
Mayor Capides.
Donate blood. Donate blood. I missed what we were actually voting on.
Absolutely. Our second discussion item, do I have a motion?
You have a motion to discuss and approve the request from the First Presbyterian Church of Springfield to waive the fees of certificates of occupancy in the amount of $250 for each of the tenants, Holy Trinity Lutheran Church and Good Shepherd Church, located in the parish house at 37 Church Mall.
I'll second.
Before we go to roll call, it's just something, and I'm not sure of this particular situation, so I just want to ask the question. Have we ever waived fees for C of A's or C of O's for entities that were renting out to tenants? Have we done that?
James.
I can't recall we ever have.
I believe
St. James. If you
at Temple Share Shalom at St. James.
We've waived fees for,
St. James, I believe, I can look back, St. James requested a waiver for their tenant, Share Shalom,
And we granted it? Okay.
right?
It's helping
Can
three,
you check that before, like, can we put this off till next meeting? Will it hurt them? I mean, just to check to make sure. I don't want to vote on something then that isn't,
Right, I mean, if we do that normally for,
Right.
or like permits for boilers and things like that.
I can check it tomorrow, but
Or if you get a
I
chance,
would think,
I would appreciate it.
I would.
I'd like to make a motion to table this until next meeting.
so can, Mr. Dow, just direct me, we already had a motion and a second for this item, now we have a motion to table. Do we have to follow through with the original motion, or can we just supersede it with the tabling?
The motion to table can be voted on.
I have a motion to table this discussion item. Do I have a second?
second.
Okay, and is
Okay.
that a,
All in
that's-
favor?
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I will check that first thing in the
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on to finance.
Some bills. Make a motion to accept the payroll and invoices for the period of January 11th through January 24th, 2023, in the amount of $989,102.11.
Second.
Deputy Mayor Kaiser,
Yes.
Committeeman Huber,
Yes.
Committeewoman Du Bois.
Yes.
Committeeman Weber,
Yes.
Mayor Capides.
Yes.
And everybody should have received the December 2022 budget report, the December 2022 pool budget report, December 2022 revenue report, and December 2022 pool revenue report. That is going to mess my dates up all day tomorrow since I just got used to learning
luck with
2023. But everybody should have that filed and read.
Yep.
We have two correspondents, New Jersey American Water filing for approval of proposed cost recovery of lead service line replacement. Public hearings are February 2nd at 4:30 and 5:30 p.m. See the company website for further details. And our other correspondent was for DRC Johnson Day, Union Zoning Board public notice for February 1st, 7 p.m. regarding enterprise rental car site plan and use variance.
Very, very riveting.
Riveting. At this time, I would like to open up the meeting for public comment on any governmental issue. Anyone having anything they would like to discuss, please come to the microphone, state your name and address for the record, and we will proceed.
I think you're the only one, Mr. B. Welcome
Josh,
back.
before you even go, I just want to say it's really good to see you again.
Yes, it is.
Thank you very much.
Let him do his 5 minutes, and then we'll say.
Good evening, council. I was sent an article by the Springfield Patch. It was published a day ago in reference to weed lounges coming to New Jersey. And we're supposed to comment, the public is supposed to comment back to the state. There's a link on there as far as March 18th. Now, I don't know when the dispensary is supposed to open up in Union, but I was wondering whether or not the council would be for this or against this as far as having weed lounges at the dispensary. One would be indoors, according to the article, and then there could be one outdoors, but it would have to be totally fenced in.
Correct me if I'm wrong, and Mr. Dad intercepted. I believe under our ordinance, we currently prohibit.
We don't expressly permit that, and the subject facility that was proposed and approved by this body did not include any such lounge.
Okay.
And probably
So-
because the regulations didn't permit it, and regulations haven't been
So
adopted
I'm
yet.
assuming the council is against this?
I could speak nothing before us, but I'll speak for myself. And
Well, I'm looking for the
and
comments.
reiterate it to.
I'm looking for the comments to be sent to the state,
Well,
because they're the ones that are asking for this.
I will tell you, I don't believe that I will put anything in writing to the state or release it, but I'm personally opposed to doing that in our instance. We don't have we're not permitting our marijuana dispensaries in a downtown setting, which would promote walking. Instead, we're putting it on our highway district.
That's correct.
And I don't believe that somebody should be consuming marijuana and then driving on the highway. I would advise against somebody doing that, drinking and driving, and I would do the same for marijuana.
Well, you have until March 18th to respond to that.
Well, I think I'm going to pass on that, Mr. Bartosh, but as a member of the public, you should certainly let the state know how you feel.
Okay? Because I've already commented, and I am totally against it.
I'm a no.
So there's your link. It's
There
on the
you go.
Springfield patch.
Just send that to them. No.
You know how
There's your link.
No, I don't have anything.
Takes you about 30 seconds to fill it out. Secondly, I haven't really heard anything, I'm sorry, Mike Bartosh, 77 Tudor Court, Springfield, New Jersey.
you know who you were.
I really haven't read or seen anything in reference to the flooding of the Rollway River through the Army Corps of Engineers. I think the last thing that I've seen was maybe Senator Menendez with Mr. Bergen and somebody from the county, and then Jerry Fernandez some years ago, I don't know what it was, maybe 5-6 years ago, going to the county and presenting, that the mayors should all get together and what do we plan to do, with the flooding. Has the Army Corps of Engineers
Another
come
question
back
for
to-
your town's liaison to that committee.
We used to,
I know how the government works because I'm fighting for Agent Orange benefits for 12 years, but
still waiting. But we used
I'm
to
still
have-
waiting.
In
We used to
regards,
have a mayor's committee. And we went, and as a matter of fact, when I was mayor, I went over to meet with the Army Corps of Engineers in New York City. And it was set, there was 2 plans at one time, everything was set, and then it stopped. And then I really haven't heard anything since then.
We can go down the list.
I was on it when I was there. We met, he met. Alex is the most.
well, hold on, everybody, hold on.
Yeah.
As the appointed individual from the Township Committee to that board, the committee still does meet as the mayors, and I am a designee for Mayor Capides this year. We have not yet met this year to reorganize the committee, but there are plans in February to do so, and we'll elect one of the mayors to serve as the honorary chair. That does not mean that the work hasn't been doing. The committee currently empowers Milburn and the Milburn BA to do a lot of work on behalf of the committee, the Rollway Mayors Committee. Where it stands now is we're still waiting for the Army Corps of Engineers to come back with a suitable plan. They were directed in a funding bill in D.C. to have a working plan. They could not just forget about us. So they do have a mandate from in law that they have to basically essentially come up with a plan. Now, that, though, could take years. There's no doubt about it. It's not going to be done in
we all know
months.
how long
And-
that, how that
and I think
works.
I think they gave us, I really don't want to be quoted off, the top of my head, but I think it was like a 2 to 3 years before they would come back and give us a suitable plan. But when we reorganize sometime in February and I'm a part of it, we'll be happy to update you further on what discussions have taken place up to
So
that point.
we're going to circle around and then we're going to get back into that again?
Well, we currently serve. Basically, the Rollway River, whatever mayors committee we're called, we have to wait on the Army Corps of Engineers to come back to us. They have the mandate and
But
they're...
you don't have any tentative date from the Army Corps of
No,
Engineers?
no,
Okay.
they have, they gave us, like a 2-year window, I think.
Okay. So I'll reach out to Senator Menendez then and find out what's going on.
Can I just add
Please
something
do.
to that real quick?
I'm sorry, I
I
didn't
just
hear
want
what
to
you
add something to that real quick.
Absolutely.
All right.
You're not
I
using up my
attended-
5 minutes now, are you?
No, you're
Okay.
good. Because it affects my area and my housing also.
Yeah,
and-
definitely your area.
and my area, Rich's area,
Yep.
Erica's area. Anyway.
3 times.
Yeah, your area too. These meetings, I went to every one when I was mayor at the time.
It is filled with every mayor in the area, same thing, pleading their cases to every politician that is there listening to it. I don't even know, I can't even pretend to tell you where it's going to end up going, because the same thing that Deputy Mayor Kaiser's told, that Mayor Capides was told, that Erica was told when she was mayor, that Rich was told,
Right.
we're all told the same exact thing.
Yep.
And it just goes on, and you have 10, 15, 20 different mayors, deputy mayors, council members, whatever, anybody you can think of, begging, like, you gotta help us.
Yep.
And that's where it goes.
The problem, though, is there is no easy answer.
No, there's not.
It's not necessarily, and I know we put a lot of pressure on the Army Corps, and they can and need to do a better job in prioritizing us. But at the end of the day, the last plan, it wasn't suitable. It would not have helped us in the storms that we are presently faced with and what is coming down the pike. So the idea that there's going to be a one bandage solution to this is never going to happen. It's just not.
Yep.
Unfortunately, due to climate change.
I'm retired, so I'll just keep,
You can.
keep Booker and Menendez and Tom Kane on my speed dial, like I'm going to be talking to you about tractor trailers on Mizell Avenue.
You can, but the last time that I
which you
checked,
haven't gotten
Senator
back to
Menendez
me
and Senator
since
Booker
last
believed in climate
July.
change,
Okay.
and Congressman
All right.
Okay.
Congressman Kane did not.
Let's move on.
What I am going to say, I just want to let you know that Springfield is going to host the first mayor's council meeting about the Rollway River next month. So
Outstanding.
If there's an update with that, we'll certainly share it with you.
Okay.
And I'll have Mr. Basicolo reach out to see if there's any formal update that we could also provide you in the upcoming
Well,
weeks.
yeah, but you're going to be in contact with the other mayors, like from Milburn and
Absolutely. We're all gonna be
Cranford
here.
and Garwood and whatever. They're all going to be there.
here.
Okay.
Yeah. You have your one more question.
Okay, that answers that question.
One more.
Now, I want to get back to the last meeting where Chief Cook was looking for an ordinance or a resolution to increase his officers to 50 people.
Yes.
Okay? I understand where he's coming from. My son is a deputy U.S. Marshal out of Newark, but he already had authorization to increase, I believe, to 45 officers. And he's only got 43 that he hired.
Correct.
Why didn't he hire the other 42, number one?
Okay.
Okay? And number two, as a layman,
Right.
you got to prove to me that you need 50 officers. When I look at the police blotter, other than Route 22 and Morris Avenue, Springfield is in a bubble. And there's nothing going on because everything that you read in the police blotter
Right.
is either, and there's like only 10 incidents for a whole month.
Right.
It's either Route 22 or Morris Avenue. So why all of a sudden you need 50 officers? Please tell me what's going on within the town. Are cars being stolen? Are homes being broken into like all the other towns? Like Westfield, Milburn, or whatever?
Sure. So,
I just don't, I don't see, you justify to me why he needs 50 officers.
Just to say that 50 doesn't mean you have to need 50.
May I? Thank you. You had two questions. The first one is, why didn't Chief Cook fulfill all of his officers to his maximum? Is because we didn't allow him to do that. The Township Committee has the ultimate authority to hire.
That's correct. That's what I heard.
That's why. We based that on a number of factors, and it wasn't a necessity at the time. The reason he wants to go up to 50, and the reason for this type of organization, is you have like 3 or 4 developments in town that are starting to really develop. And this is a preparatory measure. It's not
Right.
saying that once this is passed tomorrow, we're going to hire 6 more officers. That's not going to happen. That's not in the cards to do. This is simply a preparatory device so that when and if it's required, we already have that ordinance in place.
Okay.
Like,
Well-
for instance, we talked about last year, at last meeting, we talked about perhaps getting another guy.
Right.
Another officer. Well, this might be contingent upon the fact of whether we have the marijuana business coming to town. We don't know when that's going to open. They're going to give us monies to supply another officers. We don't know for sure when that is going to open.
Well,
and
that-
even after if it opens, when that money is going to be received.
Right.
Now, we played a little, I haven't really kept you to your time because you were the only one here. You've asked 3 or 4 questions. I told you that respectfully that was going to be your last one. And I'm going to have, I know that Committeeman Weber wants to respond, and I think Deputy Mayor Kaiser wants to respond as well to your questions. So
Okay.
I'm going to let them do that.
Well, you answered one of my questions as far as the dispensary is concerned,
Okay.
that they are going to have Springfield PD there, an officer or whatever, but
No.
they will pay for that officer.
No, that officer will not be situated. There is
No.
at the dispensary.
Correct. The
Because that's what Chief Cook said. He says, I need an officer
No, he didn't.
for
He didn't say that.
the dispensary
What he-
and the Metropolitan. He
No,
brought
he didn't
both
say
of
that.
those things up.
What, you're talking about 2 different things. What he said was, or I think it was either Deputy Mayor Kaiser or myself, what we said is that the dispensary is going to provide us funds to hire an officer. It was never specifically for the dispensary, just to help support the community along with other programs that they were going to supply us. That is, they would provide us monies for things like hiring another officer. At no time was it ever said that that officer would be specifically to the dispensary. Secondly, the one he did talk about the developments, he talked about the developments in the arena of more people coming to town, increase in service calls, and because of the developments coming into town, there would be a need for more officers to respond to more calls.
That's what I heard also. Cool. But I heard,
No, Mr. Bartosh,
Yeah?
I let you go. You have well over
Okay.
5 minutes. I'm going to end, but I'm also going to allow Committeeman Weber and Deputy Mayor Kaiser to also respond if they'd let, and I think Committeewoman Du Bois wanted to respond, so I want to give them an opportunity to respond.
You want to go first with me?
I always like to be the
Okay.
He's the closer.
Chief and I talked about it for the past few years, and we thought the 50 number was something that, as the mayor said, would be phased in eventually. Here's what I can tell you about the police department. The blotter's accurate. Almost anybody that they've engaged or they've had an issue with or have come here to possibly do something wrong, they've made contact with pretty much everybody. And if you look at neighboring towns around us, they are faring far worse than we are in terms of auto thefts and everything else. They are, and if they're listening, make no mistake about it, they are doing exactly what they need to do when it comes to other people who are coming into town, trying to take advantage of opportunities, whether it's an open car or door or whatever. They're doing that. Our question were, I have a few questions and some hesitations, and I think Committeeman Huber had it. We all had the same thing. Deputy Mayor Kaiser had it. We all had the same thing where, it does come to a money issue to a certain degree at this point right now, number one. And number two, there are certain things that we still want to see. I was called out on my wheelbarrow full of tickets comment 2 weeks ago when I said that, but I stand by that I think that Mountain and Mizell need to be hit a little bit harder.
and I totally agree with you. I don't have a problem with the
Mr.
50
Bartosh.
officers.
Right.
Mr. Bartosh.
I want to see somebody on
Bartosh.
Mizell and South Springfield and
Bartosh.
Hillside Avenue
Mr. Bartosh.
giving out tickets.
Mr. Bartosh, I'm going to ask you to sit down.
Okay, fine.
Thank you.
I agree, and so that was it, and certain things had to be parked for right now until we were able to figure what's the best course for us at this point.
Thank you.
Oh, I just wanted to make a comment on the police blotter. The police blotter is out there. That's not every piece of crime
Correct.
that is committed. If that was the case, we're basically in friggin' Mulberry. So the idea that's something the police do to kind of put it out there to show what's going on in town, but it's certainly not everything the police are doing all day long. So to that point, I just, a little issue. But Mr. B, I think I had similar concerns. And I think I expressed it that day, and we all did. And talking to the chief a little bit and seeing where we were comparatively to neighboring towns, when actually we're bigger than some of those towns and have 3 major highways that we have to patrol when those communities don't, seemed a little out of whack. And ultimately, you know, I probably will vote for it on that. Now, to that point, while we're giving them the ability to get to 50, there's no way that I am voting for an additional 6 today or tomorrow. I am committed to hiring an additional 1, and I made that clear last year when I was mayor, and I was hoping that it was going to get done on my term, but unfortunately the dispensary wasn't able to open. So we'll see what this year is. But that's what it really is, and going forward into the future, we'll begin to look at maybe additional ones if there is a need on calls of service and so forth, and we'll certainly begin to examine. But that was just my remarks. If I just wanted to clarify from last week, I think it might have been a little
Mayor?
misconstrued.
Can I just make one clarification on that? At no time did the chief ask for 50.
No.
I don't want it to be construed that it was a request for 50 officers. It was not.
That was another reason why it was also kind of parked for a second, was because we were afraid that that is what would end up happening the next day was people would perceive that as us being 6 or so officers down, when that is not what was happening. And we're working on that one.
Thank you, everybody. I'm going to close the public comment on public court portion of the meeting, and we are going into executive session. Madam Clerk?
Resolution 12423, whereas Article 6 of the Open Public Meetings Act provides that a public body may hold a closed session, whereas the Township Committee will during this meeting enter into discussion of the following matters: potential contract negotiations, recreation facilities, whereas the matters to be discussed in closed session are to remain in the strictest of confidence by all discussed at this meeting will be released to the public, and the reasons for discussing and acting upon them in closed session no longer exist. Motion?
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We're not taking any further action. Mr. Dowd is in the bathroom.